Welcome to the podcast. This is the Real Healing Institute show. My name is Michelle Sinclair, and I am a spiritual teacher here that is going to talk today to you about forgiveness. How? Why? What does it matter? Because I swear it is the ingredient that can gain enlightenment for you if you have been working through, if you've mentally been cleansing your mind of the ego and all the things that are low frequency, but yet you haven't stepped into true, real forgiveness, and I'm going to talk about what that actually is. That is the element that needs to be present, because this is not just forgiveness of, yeah, no, I forgave them, I understand, blah, blah, blah. This is you want for them exactly what you have gained. You want all of the enlightenment that you have. You want them to have it too, genuinely, every person who has harmed and hurt you. And when you think about them, there's not this, negative feeling, there's not this whatever feeling, there is a genuine feeling of love and thankfulness for that person. So how do we get there? Because trust me, man, I know. I took nearly 20 years and over 20 years to forgive certain people in my life. And it caused me suffering, it caused that person suffering. So we're gonna start in the middle. So when I was a teenager, I got pregnant. I had my boyfriend, and we had been together for, I don't know, probably around a year, and I got pregnant. Don't know how that happened. So he was extremely abusive, extremely in a variety of ways. Like a week before I had my son, I was covered up in bruises from him. And so I knew, I'm not going to go into the extremeness of it because it was extremely extreme, but I knew, because he even abused his little sister, who was, I think, around 4 at the time. Keep in mind, this is he wasn't my first official boyfriend, but he was the most prominent at that time. And when you're young like that, and even when you're not, you allow things to go on. And especially if you are with someone who is very mentally and physically abusive, it's a systematic breakdown that didn't just happen. They didn't just start beating on you and abusing you and isolating you from everyone the day they met you. More than likely, they didn't. It took time to progress into that. So anyways, it progressed into that, but I had seen the warning signs early on of how he, was to his little sister, and I just thought, oh, this is terrible, what a thing. But then I get pregnant, and I'm like, that dude ain't doing that to my kid. So I cut him off. He was fine with it, right? Because he owed me a pile of money, and then now he didn't have to pay child support, because he was signing away his rights with the agreement, which actually wasn't even a legal thing, and the judge didn't agree it, but I just didn't pursue it. I just said, hey, dude, if you don't pay me a penny, will you sign over your rights? And he agreed to this. So, la-di freaking da, that was easy. So 18 years goes by. I don't give this man the time of day in my thoughts, in my mind. He never reaches out. I don't reach out. We have no communication. And I remember my ex-husband one time brought up his name. We were driving somewhere, and this is probably 17 years in. Driving somewhere, and he brings up his name, and I remember getting really upset by this. Why would you bring up his name? Why would you whatever? Which alerted me to the fact that this was actually a problem for me and that he wasn't forgiven. Now, at this time, was I studying the Christ? Yeah, I must have been studying the Christ letters, whatever. I knew at that time about magnetism, that what you put out, it comes back. And I knew this with a powerful certainty. And so his name coming up and me feeling so upset was like, ooh, I don't want that. I don't want anything to be able to upset me in this way. So one day, however long after this, probably several months, you know how life goes, I'm laying there and I'm like, okay, I'm going to forgive this dude. This is my intent of my meditation that I'm doing today. So I sit there and I meditate. And it came to me, you know, what he had been through as a child. And what he had been through was terrible. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. And so I saw that he had, first of all, these abandonment wounds from his father. Second of all, that he had witnessed with his freaking eyeballs his father extremely abusing his mother in front of him. Like he would put his cigarettes out on her. And this kid is witnessing this until he's about 7 years old. And then one day his dad leaves and never comes back. So all of a sudden, you know, as I'm seeing that and remembering, like, I mean, I knew this, but I'm having this memory of this, or this remembrance of this. But you know, if you've ever done any kind of subconscious work, that it hits you differently. You know many, many things, but when you go into a subconscious state, like it hits you and it's like you gain all the understanding around it. It's very different than the conscious mind. So I have this, like this deep, compassionate understanding, and I saw this little boy who was just harmed and wanted a good, nice father and didn't have this, and all the pain and the suffering that he went through, and instantly in that moment there was just complete forgiveness of like, oh, not only do I forgive you, but dude, I feel bad. I'm so, you know, compassionate that you have gone through this and all the things, and it was just immediate forgiveness, and the feeling that I had within me was completely changed. There was no longer, oh, I hope he doesn't find me, you know, I don't want him to mess with us, I don't want him to, you know, ruin this life that I have. There was all those things that had been previously going on, and then in that moment it was like, oh wow, I hope that he gains enlightenment at some point. I hope that every good and wonderful thing works out for him. Because I had been very concerned. I knew that he had children himself and a wife. At least I think he was married and the things, but he had kids. And I was so concerned, knowing, you know, how it was before. I was always so concerned for them. And I wondered, you know, is she suffering the way that, you know, with what he did to me? And I assumed that the answer was probably yes. So anyways, he's forgiven. And a couple months goes by, and I get this message from him. So this is the first time I have spoken to him in 18, it actually might be 19 years at this point since I've talked to him. And he just messages and apologizes. And it was, you know, apologizing for how he treated me, shouldn't have done that, I was so good to him, he was so awful to me, all the things, he said all the right things. And, you know, asked how my son was doing, and said, you know, if I wanted to give him any information, he would love to hear it, but, you know, no obligations. Anyway, so I received this message, and it was such a welcome, wonderful message, because at this point, this let me see, like, oh man, okay, well, if he's speaking to me this way, clearly he's done some inner work, because you wouldn't come up with this, you couldn't fake something like this, and why would he reach out after this amount of time and send a message in this way unless he had really done some inner transformational work? So it was like very welcome. I'm like, sweet, this is good, okay, you know, more than likely he's probably being good to his family, at least now he is, or all the things. So this was like very welcome. However, had I got that message months previous, before I had forgiven him, it would not have been received, it would not have been welcomed, it would have put me on edge, it would have done all kinds of things to me. Nothing changed except my thinking around it, right? Nothing actually changed. His message probably would have been the same, all the things. So I say that to say this. You know, they say that forgiveness is for yourself, and it is. You have to do it, because if you're carrying unforgiveness in your energetic system, it's heavy and it's burdensome. And you know, the Christ letter says, where there's no forgiveness, there's retribution in the form of cause and effect. So, you know, this means, like, if you are thinking about somebody with this unforgiveness, you're sending out all these electrical waves, and through magnetism, those same waves of that unforgiveness, that resentment, is going to come back on you. You're going to suffer through it. Forgiveness, complete and total and loving, dispels these violent hatred energies. Without forgiveness, they gather momentum from the ongoing resentment of the opponent. Because I have to tell you here, in your home, in your community, in your town, in your state, in your country, forgive who has injured you, whoever has injured you in any way, big or small, and let this word ring out across your land through any means that you have. And if you cannot forgive easily because your ego won't let you, then bring your hurt and your anger to the divine and ask for its inflow of spiritual directing power to gently ease and remove the burden from your mind. It is a necessary, it is a needed, it is a not optional component. Prior to that, even though I wasn't thinking about, he didn't pop into my head very regularly. I don't know that maybe once a year, I don't even recall. I don't remember him really being a part of my mind. Unless someone else would bring it up, right? I had friends from high school would be like, oh, how's so-and-so doing? I'm like, dude, why are you asking me this? Like, how would I know? You tell me. Like, obviously it's on your mind. But besides that, it wouldn't really come up. But here's the thing about this. So when I forgave him, I subconsciously released him, right? Because I had subconsciously had something against him, right? Like he had done something wrong to me. So I had been sending this, he had been doing something wrong to me. And I'm sure that it was received on a subconscious level by him and it was returned back to me in the same form. Right? I don't know what's going on in his mind, but I'm pretty positive that most people who have been the instigator in a situation, I guess not always, but they tend to probably put it on the other person as well, just to cope, just to deal with whatever they've done. Or maybe they have a valid reason why they think this, and it's because they're receiving from the other person this resentment and this or that, and so it builds up within them, even though it doesn't actually belong there. So when I forgave him, I'm no longer sending, even subconsciously on a soul level, this energy. And so then what is the results of that? Forgiveness on their end, because I would have been the only, maybe not, I don't know. But obviously in this case, me no longer sending out whatever negative thought towards him, if he, popped into my head, now I'm sending out a loving, caring, I want every good and wonderful thing for you to happen. I'm sending out that thought, and that is very, very different. So I received this message, very well received. I respond back, dudes, I am drinking like the most wonderful caramel tea today. Black tea, I freaking love black tea, it's my favorite. This one's caramel, so good. Anyways, I'm now sending out something different, right? And so it is being received differently. I see this with clients all the time. All the time. If they are subconsciously fearing that somebody's going to be mean to them, or they're resentful, I have to go deal with this person because they behave this way, blah, blah, blah. And there's like some type of negative, low vibration frequency being sent out from them towards somebody else. When they encounter that person, they get exactly what they thought they were going to get. It is on them, man. You don't even realize how powerful and how potent your thoughts and your expectations are. And I'm telling you from my personal experience, it will completely change your life and their life, and you will want it to also change their life. But if you're like, no, I can forgive this person, but I don't want them, to experience the freedom from it, then you have not forgiven them. You haven't. And so there's more work to be done. Because as long as you contain that, well, I want good things, but I don't want this, you're sending out that, and what's going to come back to you? I want this, but not this. You're doing it to yourself. That very thing that you don't want for them, you're doing that same thing to yourself. You're blocking yourself. You're jamming yourself up with that very thing that you that your ill wishing is doing to that other person. You might say, it's not ill wishing. I just don't even think of them. I don't give them the time of day. Good. So that's sometimes a part of the process, right? Like I'm telling you, I took 18 years to get where I was going. So you're not in the wrong place. If you haven't forgiven somebody yet, there's no like urgency. You have to do it right now in the second. But you got to work towards it. But it takes time, right? You got to work through the things, and you have to realize, sometimes it takes a bit to understand that this was a gift for you, right? And I would even say, Let's give an example of my father. Me and my sisters were very resentful towards him for years, and I don't know, maybe they still are, maybe they're not. I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know. I'm not, so it's not in my world anymore. But I was for a long time, and it was very difficult to be resentful towards a parent, right? You think, oh, you didn't raise me properly. You should have done this, you should have done that. But then I look and I think, okay, well, my dad, he would take us to church twice on Sundays, and it was like, what a freaking nightmare that was. But I'm like, the amount of time I spend devoted to my spiritual practice now, I'm like, I get it. He was doing this, maybe for different reasons, maybe not. But I understand, even these little acts, these little things that I would have said, were less than desirable, although I didn't mind going to church. It was just I didn't know any different. Twice on a Sunday was a little much, but I would have been rather at home, watching cartoons or something. But all the little things lead and make you who you are, and without them you would not be who you are. I know. I've heard this so many times. I had a blessed, wonderful woman, and she loves clothes. She loves collecting clothes and sharing them with people. Like, she likes to do photo shoots and like, hey, come to my place and come and pick out some clothes. Like, she just loves to go find fun things and then wants people to come and dress up and try on this stuff, because she loves to watch people have fun and loves to watch what dressing up in those clothes does. Like, she just loves every ounce of it. And she's an older woman. Now, going back to young childhood, she didn't have the clothes, so she got made fun of because they didn't have any money. And so you could take a situation like that and you could be mean and resentful towards your parents, right? You go to school, you get made fun of. Why? Because your clothes aren't like the other kids. And so, these things can build up resentment and all of these terrible things of like, oh, I had to go through this and blah, 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 blah. But however many freaking 50 years later, it's like this woman has stepped into her purpose, because there's great purposefulness in what she is doing. If you saw how she operated when she is in her element, you'd be like, oh, like, this is the thing. This is her. It's her magic, and it came from something that didn't seem magical at the time. Didn't seem magical, and that there could have been a lot of resentment. There could have been all kinds of things around that she could have held on to and still been mad at her father and still all these things. But now you see that very thing that was that hard struggle thing was actually the most beautiful blessing and gift that you could have been given. What a wonderful thing. So on to the next. And if you guys have followed me for a while, then you know this next piece. Sorry, I can't get enough of the tea. So my ex-husband, well, almost to be, days, yay. So I was married for almost 20 years. I stayed home with my kids, but I practiced hypnotherapy, had an office, couple offices, where I was at, taught exercise classes, but I homeschooled my kids for the last several years, and I just was the stay-at-home mom. That's what my mom did. I would teach these exercise classes. I would do them in the evening when he was around, and I would take clients, throughout the days when, earlier when the kids, before I was homeschooling and they were at school. And so I was, there, and I thought, I really liked my husband. I mean, he was funny. So I thought, we're best friends, got along great. I always wanted to hang out with him. And, it obviously didn't go both ways, because I had found out that not only was he betraying me, it was extreme to the max, what he had been doing, and that this had been going on. And I mean, I would catch him in lies, which was just the oddest thing to me. I'm like, why is an adult lying to me? Like, it was so weird. It's like, like, it was just weird. Anyways, I'm sure that this was, self-protection from, his childhood or whatever it was that he went through. I don't know why people have to lie. But I'm sure, a reason. So anyways, I then find out about this, and he illuminates me to half of the truth on my birthday, the day I'm going on a trip. He really liked to ruin every birthday that I ever had. And I saw not only that it was like my most dreaded day of the year, because besides that, things were pretty good, but I would fear it. And so I'm seeing this now, is a pattern, right? And it even has continued through beyond that, right? Because I had such this fear of like, oh, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do today? Like, I was like on edge. Is he gonna scream at me before he goes to work? Is, like, what's happening? And that, I just had somebody the other day say, this particular month is always bad for me. And so I'm seeing right now, so I'm going to correct this when we're done here, because it even did continue through to this year. It is the magnetism that we're talking about. So, it happens one time, and then we fear it, and then it continues to happen again through our, I hope that this doesn't happen, but we're just sending out this feeling, and then that feeling comes back and returns to us, and we subconsciously hold it and expect it to happen, and so it does. So anyways, he tells me part of what happened on my birthday one year, as I was leaving to go on a trip. And it was devastating. I feel terrible for anyone that had to be around me during the months that ensued, because I was beside myself. Like, this illusion that I had that I thought was real, I found out was indeed an illusion. It wasn't real. I didn't have what I thought that I had. So that was really hard to take. But he didn't tell me exactly what he did. He told me, let's say, a quarter of what actually happened. So then I had time to deal with this, to process this, to be like, okay, I guess it was so upsetting, and it hurt me and it cut me so deep. But I had 4 kids, I'm with him, and it's like, I don't know what to do. So I stayed and just, made the best of it. Then, however long later, maybe this was a year or something, I was on a trip again, we were in Mexico, and I had this vision come to me, and I saw what he did, and was like, what? And immediately I talked myself out of it. Like, nope, that's not possible. Obviously, I'm a crazy person. This couldn't have happened. And so then I'm not sure how long it was later. It might have even been like a whole year after that, when he then admitted to the whole truth, which was exactly what I had seen. So I knew, I subconsciously knew. And so I subconsciously was holding resentment towards him that whole time, right? Like, I didn't do that to you, man. So it was a problem. Anyway, so when I then found out the actual truth, I was beyond devastated. So he told me this the day actually that I was with his grandma. Well, she passed away. I returned back home after, being there, driving there, knowing that she was going to pass away. I was actually driving up because his aunt was caring for her at the time. And I was told, you're going to go there today, and you're going to help prepare the body after, she passes away or whatever. So I was like, oh, okay, so she's passing away today. And I said, and when you get home, you're going to be told something, and it's going to be way harder than what you think it's going to be. But, like, we've got you. And so I'm getting all this in the car while I'm driving up, and I'm like, okay, yeah. And so my husband calls, he's like, hey, let's meet at the office and talk when you get back, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I go up to his aunt's house. His grandma passes away probably within 15 minutes of me being there. I go, I help prepare the body. I didn't even know what that meant, but then I understood what that meant. And I have to tell you that her experience of her passing, because she was not a pleasant woman for most of her life that I knew her, right up until, close to the end. Man, when she passed, I have never experienced such peace in my life. That moment of her passing, it changed me, because I go in there, she was never nice to me. But she, at this point, couldn't speak or anything, and was just, laying there, like it's at the end. And so I just grabbed her hand and I talked to her subconsciously, and I said, hey, I'm here, and like, I forgive you and I love you, and it's okay. If you're ready to go, you can go. And then she went within, probably 10 minutes of that conversation. And it was wonderful. So then that, when she passed, then that was her real soul that I was experiencing for the first time. And what a beautiful thing. If you could imagine a woman who's just kind of miserable, but then if you knew that woman's soul was the most beautiful, soft, peaceful, kind, loving, wonderful soul, it might change things for you, wouldn't it? Had I really recognized that, had I gone through the enlightenment just slightly earlier, I would have been able to recognize that before her moment of death. But it happened that way because it was supposed to. So then I leave there, and then I go to my office, where he proceeds to tell me the truth of what happened. Did I get the whole truth? I don't know. But after he told me, his eyes were a different color, much lighter, so I imagine that it relieved a heavy burden that he had been carrying for a long time. However, I was completely devastated, didn't know what to do, and immediately didn't love him anymore. Not in that way. Like, it was just, I was empty of any emotion, of any loving, kind, wanting to be with him emotions. They were immediately eradicated from my body the second that I found out the actual truth. So this is November. So I am now figuring out what exactly I am going to do, because I do not want to be with him. I do not want to be with this man anymore, because he's not who I thought he was. And it wasn't safe to be there. There was nothing about me that wanted to stay. So I had an extremely difficult 6-ish months there. Didn't want to leave the house. Even going to the grocery store, I'm like, am I going to be able to make it through the grocery store without crying? I knew everybody in town. Am I going to run into people who are going to want to talk to me, and I'm going to break down? Like, it was like, get in, get out. No socializing. I isolated myself. The only people who knew were a couple of friends, and I'm sure the whole town probably freaking knew. But, I just kept to myself. But at this time, I'm studying the Christ letters, and so I'm understanding and I'm knowing. Things are happening for us. How? I don't freaking get it or know, but I know it, and I know it for a fact. Like, there's just this deep, powerful knowing within me, and there's this knowing that I have to forgive him, because every time that I would think about him, my heart would just break, and it would just be like, oh, just pain. And it was like, I can't keep doing this, because as I'm experiencing this, right, I'm planting more and more pain. I don't want that. I don't want any of it. I'm not creating this. I know how we create, and I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it anymore. So I get to the point where I'm like, okay, it's happening. It's happening. I'm going, and I'm going to forgive him. And I did. I went up to my cabin with the intent of forgiveness and enlightenment. That's it. It's like, I'm leaving, and I'm not coming back until this is what comes. And I wasn't. So I didn't have a timeline. I just went up there and was like, I guess as long as it takes. And I ended up staying there for 3 weeks. It did not take that long to get to that place. I don't remember exactly how long it took. But what happened here was an understanding, a deep understanding. I would never have gained enlightenment, and what I mean by that is total illumination of the brain, the complete eradication of the ego, and seeing people and understanding things on a soul level, like I did with his grandma who passed. It was like, oh, No, everything is good and wonderful, and anything that we believe is not has been introduced by the mind because we're not believing something properly. But this illumination came in, and I've never been so, you feel like you're as high as a kite times 10 billion, trillion, million. There's no limit to how amazing it is, and you know the words that you have such conviction in them, and that you can speak something and you can make it happen right now in this exact second because you are in this state of all of the power of the universe, but you understand what that power is, and all it is love. But it's the most powerful thing that exists. And you're in it, and you're experiencing it. It would be like if every cell in your body contained this love, which then would contain the understanding of what that love is and how powerful it truly is. And so I forgave him, and even when I think about him now, and I mean, he attempts to try to stir me up. He will still do this, but it doesn't work. But I just love him, because had he not done that to me, had he been who I thought he was, yeah, sure, I'd be there, I'd be happy, I'd be with him, we would, have things together, it would be a completely different way. But I wouldn't have got to the point where I was in such extreme pain that I had to go and had to heal it and had to find it. And I'm the only one that can do it, man. Just like you. Nobody can heal this for you. It doesn't matter if that person came up and they said, oh, I'm so sorry or whatever. You're not going to get the apology. It's not coming. It's never coming. I didn't get any of the apologies. I mean, he apologized to me, but in any of the other cases, there was no apologies that came. But there was forgiveness that was given despite that. And it all came from within me. He didn't participate in that. There was no participation of him coming and being part of the process of this forgiveness. No, that was on me, man. And I did it. And when I did it, I felt this release, this understanding. But now I think about it and it's like, dude, I wouldn't be at where I'm at now had he not done that. And he actually suppressed me. He like spiritually, he would tell me, you got to be less weird. You got to be more corporate. You got to take the spirituality out of it. He essentially was telling me to take myself, the essence of who I am, out of me. And it was like, dude, it's not even possible. But, following his direction, I'd be like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't use this wording. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe, and I'm doing it when people are coming to my office. This is why they're being healed. But he's, was such a suppressor. But what a wonderful gift that was. Because now I recognize it and I see it. I remember dating some man and saying something about my spirituality, and he's, said something about it, and I was like, all right, guess I won't be seeing you tomorrow. Like, it's an immediate, that's a no from me. That's a no from me. Oh, you don't support who I am spiritually in this way? Yeah, no, this is a no from me. I don't need ya. I don't want ya. It's thanks for the lesson. Not happening. It allowed me to gain so much awareness about other people and the influence that they truly have on your life. Which is why, now in this life, as soon as I recognize something, I've always had good intuition, but I didn't quite honor it. I would be told things, and they would be right, but then I would question myself and be like, I don't know. Whereas now, I'm like, man, when I meet somebody, I know something. And for me to not follow that would be doing myself a disservice. So I'm not going to do that anymore. But it was through all of these people who have come into my life, who I have then had to forgive, that I've learned these things. And so now I can recognize it a mile away, right? You come into my life, all of a sudden my spiritual gifts start dwindling, or I start having an issue in this area where I didn't used to have an issue. Okay, this is telling me something, that something is not in alignment here. And I'm so easily able to recognize it now, and I'm never going back to the old way of how things were. That's never going to happen. If you learned, that the color red is actually the color red, and you'd been thinking it was purple, you're not going to go back to thinking it's purple once you've now learned the truth. You'll be like, no, okay, well, I thought this for a long time, but now I know that this actually is red. And it changes things for you. So when I forgave him, did that mean that I was going to go back to him? No, it did not. It did at the time. So I was still in a state of confusion because, I've now gained this and I see all the things and it's like, oh, I got to go out and heal all the things and the people in the world and all these things. And I've seen this huge grand vision, but he was not in it. And so I'm deciding what is it that I'm going to do, and I wanted the divine's direction. So I didn't usually dream, and so I asked for a dream. I was like, okay, tell me what to do, like what happens if I stay? Because keep in mind, I have a family. I do not want to leave. I don't, I want this to be okay, but it's like, am I, ever going to be able to trust? Absolutely not. There was just so many factors that were in there. And so I asked for a dream, and this dream, keep in mind, I don't get dreams, like I'm telling you, I hadn't had dreams in years that I recall. Obviously, we must dream every night, but I don't remember them. So I have this dream, and oh yeah, he's cheating on me, and he's cheating on me in church, which is weird because we didn't attend church, and it was like just this huge embarrassment of like, oh, he's doing this right under my freaking nose and people are seeing it and I wasn't seeing it, but then I'm seeing it, and then the children were involved and my kids are there and they were seeing that this was happening, and it was like, what? Oh, terrible. So not good dream, but thanks, Divine, for the loving warning, because I truly didn't know what to do. So asked the Divine for a dream and he was like, there you go. So I got the dream. So then I knew, okay, this I can't stay. I can't stay. And so this took some time, and I have to tell you a really interesting story. So I always tried to fix everything within myself, right? If I'm seeing something in the outward world, which I just, kind of learned a lesson about this a few weeks ago. But if I'm seeing something going on in the outward world, I'm like, no, this is something that can be fixed within me. Right, because everything is a reflection. So I would just go in, I'm going to fix this within me, I'm going to fix this within me, I'm going to fix this within me. So I'm out jumping on the trampoline with my one daughter, my beautiful daughter, Brianna. I mean, they're both the most beautiful, but I'm out there jumping on the trampoline with her, and it's hot. So I tie my hoodie around my waist, jumping, whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go in and meditate. This is a, pretty regular thing for me. Okay, cool. I go in and meditate. So I'm laying there and I do what I do for my clients, for myself all the time. This is how I do it. So I'm laying there and I'm feeling this tension around my midsection. And so, if a client came to me and they were feeling tension somewhere in their body, I'd be like, okay, we're going to follow this feeling back to where it began. So, I'm always doing regression, hypnosis regression therapy with people, and so this is what I do for myself. So I'm following this tension feeling back and nothing is coming up. Like, what the heck is going on? So I keep going back to it. Okay, really feel this feeling. Okay, let's follow it back. This has never happened to me before, right? Like, I'll always go back to something that needs to be resolved, but it's not coming up. And so then I'm like, okay, this is so weird. And I open my eyes and I look down and I realize, right, I tied my freaking hoodie around my waist. This is what is restricting me. This is where this tension is coming from. So I start laughing. I untie it and I start laughing. And so my daughter comes down the hallway and she's like, what's so funny? What are you laughing about? I was like, dude, I was just meditating. I had the tension, whatever. And it's because I had the hoodie around my waist. So she's laughing. She's like, that's so funny. And she just looks at me and she says, yeah, sometimes it is your environment. And that done it for me. I understood that I couldn't change somebody else by changing myself. And so that was a moment of encouragement, but also a divine push that was saying, hey, you need to be prepared. You're not going to be here. You're not going to be here forever. So however long later, everything goes on and goes through. And I remember talking to my one friend, and she said, you will know. You will make a decision, and you'll know. And you'll know on that day, and you won't know a moment sooner. And once you've made your decision, that will be that, and there will be no going back. And that was exactly what happened. It took, several more months to just realize one day, like, oh, I'm actually not trapped. I'm not stuck here, and I need to leave, and I need to leave right now. And so that was what I did. And from the second that I left, it's just been the most wonderful ride in my life. I'm wonderful. I left before I came down. I went back up to my cabin. That's my place. So I'm like, okay, I'm going for a spiritual retreat before I leave and move countries. So I go up there, and I'm driving back down now, right, to the United States. This is like a, 26-hour drive or something like this. And so I'm driving down, and I was told I needed to stop for gas, but I had like a lot of gas in my tank, and I was like, why do I need to stop? Like, this is weird. And so I passed this one, small town gas station, in hopes of like, okay, I want to find, a Love's or like something big, sweet. And I pull out on the highway after passing this gas station, and the divine's like, no, like, turn around, go get gas. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. And so then I look at the sign, and it's like however many miles to the next place. And I look at my thing, and I was like, oh, I actually probably should get gas. Okay, so I whip a Yui, go into this gas station, and I'm drinking tea. And so I am asking the lady in the gas station that's working at the back, hey, do you have any honey? And so then me and her get in the conversation. She's like, oh, honey, we should have honey here. My brother-in-law and whoever, sister-in-law, whoever it was, like, they sell it and they got their honey. And so I'm like talking to this woman, and she's just like so wonderful. And she keeps walking like really, really close to me, and so she keeps like stepping back from me, and she's like, I'm really sorry. I keep feeling like I just keep wanting to be really close to you because your aura is just so clean. And I remember those specific words, because your aura is so clean. And it was the truth, 100%. I was just pure love at that point. I'd come right out of the spiritual retreat. And so I needed her to tell me this. At the very start of, like, I was, 30 minutes into the United States at this point. I needed her to tell me that. She was a key element on my journey going down that was like, you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. And so I started saying the mantra, I'm living in heaven. Every day I get something for free, because I thought, well, I'll sell, get something for free, because that'll be fun. And so then my whole trip down there, every day, all the time. And this was I did this for months and months and months and months, because it was just kind of fun. I would get something for free. So I'm walking in the gas station. The dude's like, hey, it's your birthday today. I was like, it's actually not my birthday. He's like, no, it is, because we give free coffee on birthdays. I was like, sweet, but it's actually not my birthday. And he was like, no, it's your birthday today. I was like, okay, accept the gift. I had asked for it. And there was little things like this that just happened the whole way, and it just kept supporting me. I never did not feel supported. And so everything that I went through, there's only good and wonderful blessings that came, but the element of it that was the necessary component was forgiveness. Had there been no forgiveness, it would not have come. It would not have come. And so forgiveness is to the extreme. It is not just, oh, I forgive this person. Yeah, I understand. People do these things. No, it is not. It is beyond that. It is truly wanting for them what you want for yourself. It's like you want the absolute best for this person. The absolute best. It does not matter what they did to you. And it is changing it. It is seeing that thing as a gift. When I was younger, there was, we'll talk about this one next time, but it was something else I, had to go through, and all these people who affect you in these certain ways, and how when you don't forgive, it'll be brought up. There'll be something that will come to your attention that'll be like, no, you haven't forgiven this person. Why do you think that they just popped up? How did this happen? How did this person who you haven't seen in 30 years just happen to pop up on this thing? Right? Oh, we need to forgive them. There will be things that will pop up that will show you like, hey, it's time now. Hey, it's time now. So if you need to forgive, start small. The very first forgiveness when I was like practicing this was my dog. I was like, okay, it's easy to forgive her. Why? Because she would ring the bells to go outside 70 million, 100,000, billion, trillion times in a day. And especially if I was sitting at the table and you're like, dude, for real, like enough, quit ringing the freaking bells. I know you don't got to go out there to just literally walk out the door, turn around and then stare at me and then paw at the door like you want to come back in. So I was like, okay, she's an easy one to forgive. So I sat there and I meditated and I was like, of course she's easy to forgive. I'm the only one that she's got. She's in my house all the time. I have to provide for every single need. So if she needs to go out, of course I'm going to let her out. And it was like the easiest forgiveness that went from annoyance to just, oh, I love you. I am the only thing that you have. You're the best thing around. So start with something small. Forgive the dog. Forgive the person who you encountered maybe that was not kind. You don't know what they were going through on that day. You don't know that they weren't just having the worst day of their life and you just happen to be there and it has nothing to do with you, but you happen to get hit in the crossfire. Start small and then work your way up. And know that the day that it's supposed to happen, it'll happen, but it is a choice. You have free will, and you can use that free will to create more, plant more negative things, or to forgive and release and plant heaven in your worlds on our earth. This is what I have for you guys here today. We have daily Christ Light circles. I live here in Sedona. You can join us through Zoom, though, every day except for Friday, because Fridays and Sundays are in person here in Sedona, but we also have it live on Sundays. So check out the schedule. I will post that down below. Follow that very bottom link and click and sign up, and it's donation based, but dude, if you don't got the funds, whatever, man, you don't got to pay nothing. Just show up. We want you there. What we do is we channel messages, we do energy clearings, but all of our teachings are in alignment with the divine, and we just heal people. All the things, all the stuff, whatever it is that you're going through, you can come feeling heavy, feeling you're going to leave, you're going to feel amazing. And you'll get out of it what you need to get out of it. So that's what I got for you guys here today. This was a long one. Sorry about that. Anyways, love you guys. Take care, and I will see you in the next one.